What's up, guys? Scotty2Hockey here, aka the average hockey fan, and I've been hearing a lot of things on Twitter and a lot of things on Facebook and in social media in general about who Montreal should re-sign between the restricted and unrestricted free agents. Altogether, combined, we have 10 unrestricted and restricted free agents, and I'd like to give my thoughts on who I think we should keep. I've picked 5 guys who I think Montreal should keep, at least deserve to stay in Montreal. As for our restricted and unrestricted free agents, we have Kulak, who is a restricted free agent. His cap hit is $900,000. We have Jordy, who is an unrestricted free agent. His cap hit is $1.75 million. Armia, he's a restricted free agent. His cap hit is $1.85 million. We have Nate Thompson. His cap hit is $1.65 million. We have Charles Hudon, $650,000. He's a restricted free agent. His cap hit is $650,000. We have Jordy, Benn, who's an unrestricted free agent. His cap hit is $1.1 million. We have Christian Folin, who is also an unrestricted free agent. His cap hit, like Hudon, is $650K. And we have Mike Riley, whose cap hit is $725K. He's an unrestricted free agent. And we have Artturi, Lehkonen, who is a restricted free agent. And his cap hit's kind of weird. $839,166. So, way to be specific on that. And we have Artturi. I didn't list his cap hit. I didn't even list him on my list because it's already been put out there that he's not coming back to Montreal. The Montreal media, the Montreal management must have already let the media know that Artturi will not be returning to Montreal, because I've seen it on multiple sites, multiple good sources, that Artturi will not be returning with the Montreal Canadiens next year. So I didn't put him on the list, but he is one of the unrestricted and restricted free agents. As far as the guys I think we should keep, I'd like to first start off with Kulak. He's a restricted free agent. This year in Montreal, in 57 games, I believe he played, maybe 52, I forgot to write that down actually. He had 6 goals, 11 assists, 17 points, was a plus 12, played 17 minutes and 51 seconds per game. He's only 25 years old. He's a good third-pairing blue liner, has great chemistry with Jordy, Benn, and his pace in Montreal is better than his pace everywhere he's been except for his rookie year. His pace is better than it's been anywhere else, and in the last 20 games, he really came on. And what I like from Kulak is he's not scared to shoot. He'll rocket a shot from the face-off. He's positionally sound defensively. He's not a small guy. He can keep up with the team's skating-wise. And if Benn makes a mistake, Kulak's always there to pick up for him, and vice versa. I absolutely love Kulak, and I feel he deserves to be re-signed. I don't think it's going to be a huge cap hit by any means. And if he does get re-signed, I'd like to see this guy get re-signed on at least a 3-year deal, but preferably even longer because he's a younger player. And then after him, I have his defense partner, Jordy, Benn. I definitely believe Benn deserves to be re-signed, but the fact that he's 31 years old, if he does get re-signed, I wouldn't be more comfortable with anything longer than a 3-year contract. I don't even think they should go 3 years because I don't think Benn will be an effective defenseman by 34. I think he only has another maybe 2 years in him in the NHL. Nothing against Benn, but he has slowed down throughout his career, except for this year. He really picked up his skating this year. But the knock on Benn this year is a lot of people thought he was going to be like Karl Alzner. They thought he was going to be too slow. He wasn't going to be a fit for the team, and eventually he was going to end up being traded, put on waivers, or bought out. One of those 3 things. But fortunately, that wasn't the case. He came into the preseason hot. He looked really good in the preseason. And throughout this season, he didn't look great in the first 20 games by no means. But throughout this season, he really picked up the slack. He had a career high in points. He had a career high in plus minus. He played a really hard 18 minutes and 12 seconds per game. And he was a great third pairing option who could be slotted up in the second pairing. And one thing that stood out to me about Benn is his skating got so much better. You look at him last year compared to this year, it was night and day. Last year, he looked like slow. He looked like he had cement in his skates. He looked like he was going to be another Karl Alzner situation. I was not liking what I've seen from Jordy, Benn at the end of last year. And this year, he looks so promising. He looks invigorated, and he had career high in Montreal this year. In 81 games played, he had 5 goals, 17 assists, career high 22 points. He was a plus 15. He played a hard 18 minutes and 12 seconds per game. Like I said, he's only 31 years old, and he had a career high 124 hits this year as well. So Benn getting physical. Another guy, I think this guy definitely has to be re-signed. I think there's no question about it. It's obvious he will get re-signed, especially after Marc Bergevin bringing him over last year, having to buy out Steve Mason's contract to get him. They're definitely going to want to keep this guy. I'm surprised he wasn't extended throughout the season personally, but I got a good feeling Weal Armia will be re-signed. He's a restricted free agent, and in 57 games played this year, he had 13 goals, 10 assists, 23 points. His plus minus was 0. He was even. His position is right wing. He's only 25 years old. He plays a hard 15 minutes and 48 seconds per game. He's a great bottom six option. He's a bigger body. He's one of the best on the puck, one of the hardest players, not just in Montreal, in my opinion, one of the hardest players in the league to get off the puck. If you were just coming down to that category, one of the hardest players to strip the puck from and get the puck off his stick. Weal Armia is a beast. He really, really is good at his puck control, and he scores. He can score on the power play. He has been a bit effective on the power play, especially the last 6 or 7 games in Montreal. I believe he had 2 power play goals. He definitely had 1 for sure, and he can kill penalties, so he can do it all. He can kill penalties. He can play on the power play. He's a good bottom six option. He's not going to cost you a pile of money, and from what I've seen, he wants to be in Montreal. And next guy I have, we had to keep this guy. I love everything I've seen from him, whether he's a 4th liner or not. He ended up ending the year on the 3rd line, and he deserved to be there. Is Jordy Weal. He played for 3 different teams this year. He was really bad in Arizona. He was mediocre at best in Philadelphia, and he was great in Montreal. In Arizona, in 19 games played, he only had 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, -3. They're a very defensive team who depends on their goaltender a lot. They're not a high-scoring team, so I don't think it was a good fit for him by any means. And in Philadelphia this year, before he came to Montreal, in 28 games played, he had 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points, and was a -5. And the funny thing is, in Montreal, he played less games than either one of those places, but he had more points. Because in 16 games played in Montreal, he had 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points. He was a +10. So in Arizona, he was a -3. In Philadelphia, he was a -5. He only had 2 points in Arizona. He only had 9 points in Philadelphia. But in Montreal, in a bunch of less games played in Philly and 3 less games played in Arizona, he had 1 more point than what he had in Philly. He had 8 more points than what he had in Arizona, and he was a +10 compared to a -3 and a -5. So this guy absolutely thrived in Montreal, and he is a perfect fit. And to hear the coach compare him to Brendan Gallagher, that is a good thing to hear about one of your players that's supposed to be considered a depth player. You're comparing him to the best scorer on the team. And a lot of people can make an argument for the best player on the team, and you're comparing him to that guy. To hear Julian say that's a really, really good notch on Weal's belt. And the next guy, some people may agree, some people may disagree. The reason why people would disagree is because his finishing ability isn't very good, and he doesn't produce goals-wise as well as people think he should. But you look at his overall game, he's kind of like Armia. He can't really play on the power play, but he's kind of like Armia in the fact he's really, really hard to get off the puck. He's an excellent penalty killer, and one thing Lehkonen brings, a guy I'm talking about is Artturi Lehkonen. One thing Lehkonen brings is that he brings that spark plug energy. He's the type of guy, you can get him out there on the 4th line. He goes and retrieves pucks. He kills off penalties. He fights. He skates hard. He's just an energy player. I like his excitement on the ice. I like how happy he looks in Montreal. Even when he's struggling, he looks happy. He plays hard every night. There's not a game I don't see from Lehkonen where he don't give it his all. And I love everything from the guy. And I believe he has the potential to be a top 6 player. If he could get his finishing ability a bit better, he could with ease be a 20-goal scorer. With ease be a 20-goal scorer. All he needs to learn how to do is just pick his spots better. Go for the top corner more. Go bar down instead of putting it straight on the goalie like he does sometimes. He seems to rush the play a bit to me, but he truly, truly deserves a chance to stick around in Montreal. And because he's underperformed statistically wise, like you look at his numbers, he might not cost you a pile of money. You could get him for an absolute steal. And the fact is, Lehkonen does so much away from the puck, so much defensively, that even if he doesn't thrive offensively, he still deserves to be brought back to Montreal because he's an energy player, and he's, in my opinion, a big part of this team. And he's also from Finland, so we got that Finland vibe going to Montreal. We got KK, we got Lehkonen, we got Armia. That's great to see, so I feel keep him around. See if we can get the all-finished line together again and get him thriving, because I really did like that line. I know it didn't work out throughout the whole year, but I really, really did like that line. And Artturi Lehkonen, he's really young. He's only 23 years old, and in 82 games played this year, he had 11 goals, 20 assists, 31 points. He was a +10, and he had averaged 15 minutes and 33 seconds per game. A very, very hard 15 minutes and 33 seconds per game, and he's a restricted free agent. And I don't know, it's 50-50 with Lehkonen get re-signed, but personally, myself, I would love to see the GM re-sign Artturi Lehkonen. Now, the guys that I said I don't think we should keep, it's not because I thought all of them were bad by no means. One of them for sure is Nate Thompson. I don't believe by any means we should keep Nate Thompson. Yes, he did a good job in Montreal, but you look at his stats, he didn't put up a pile of offense. I know he's a fourth line option. He's pretty good on the penalty kill, but keeping Nate Thompson takes away opportunities from younger players who are coming up next year. We could possibly have Suzuki coming up playing with us next year. We pretty much know Paley is going to be slotted in there. Mark Bergevin's possibly going to be going after somebody to help the power play in July. So I don't see where Nate Thompson fits into the lineup. We already have a solid fourth line, even established, even if Nate Thompson didn't play on it. And I have a feeling with Nick Suzuki coming up next year, you're going to need to give a young, hot player like Suzuki a shot over Nate Thompson. And I have a feeling Mark Bergevin's going to pick up a player or two in July that will replace Nate Thompson and be a better option. I liked what he did in Montreal. I like the fact he wants to stay in Montreal, but for some reason, I don't think he's going to be re-signed. I could be wrong on that one. That's the one guy, if I was definitely wrong, I could be wrong on that one. The next guy, I don't think he's going to stick around. A lot of Habs fans do like him. He showed a lot of potential his first while in Montreal, but since then, it's pretty much been all downhill. He's been given chance after chance after chance. He just can't produce offensively. I like what I see from on the ice. He's fast. He has potential. He has good hands, but he just doesn't produce. And the fact is, when you're in Montreal, we expect winners and we want players who produce. And Charles Hudon has not produced in Montreal. He has not turned out close to be what he was projected to be. And I have a feeling Charles Hudon, though he's a restricted free agent, will be gone at the end of the year. There was no secret, they were trying to trade him for a pick at the deadline, and they couldn't even get a pick for the guy. So I don't see him sticking around in Montreal myself personally. The next guy, I really liked what I seen from. I just don't see him as a defense scorer, because I have a feeling in July, Mark Bergevin is going to acquire a new defenseman, a partner for Petrie, and I have a feeling Christian Folin is going to be out and he may not get re-signed. If he do get re-signed, I have a feeling it will be short-term for very cheap, and the reason why you would re-sign him is to have another option there in case whoever they bring in to play with Petrie ends up getting injured. I could be wrong on that. They could just re-sign him because they like what they seen from him and stick him there with Petrie, but I don't see that happening because that's clearly been an issue. Jeff Petrie hasn't had a consistent partner all year. He's absolutely thrived in Montreal, and he deserves a consistent partner, a guy who can thrive along with him, because Mete and Weber have thrived together, and Kulak and Benn look really good together. And the next guy, it should be no secret to anybody, I'm sure a lot of Habs fans will agree with me on this, Mike Riley has to go. The fact is, he hasn't worked out in Montreal. Yes, he can skate well. He looks good offensively. There are some good things about his game, but overall, he just hasn't been a good fit with the Habs. He's been inconsistent. He's been in and out of the lineup, and after the All-Star break, we've pretty much seen none of Riley, so I would assume Mike Riley is not coming back to Montreal. Barring some miracle, I would assume he is not getting re-signed. And that's my guys who I think will not get re-signed. And I've already named the guys who I think will get signed. Anyways, guys, if you agree with me, feel free to leave a comment. And if you disagree with me, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know who you think we should re-sign. And also, I would like to know who you guys think we could possibly pick up as free agents in July. In July, who do you think Mark Bergevin is going to go after? Because I'm doing a video soon on potential pickups, potential UFA pickups, who we're going to go after in July, and I'd like some ideas on that. So if I can get my subscribers and my followers and people who watch this video to help me out on that, add a few more names to my list I already have, that would be great. And who do you think he's going to re-sign out of this list I have here? I really, really hope above all he re-signs Joel Armia, and after that, Jordan Weal, and the rest he has to re-sign too. But those two guys, I truly loved what I've seen from them, and you can't let players like that go, especially when they're bottom six, because they both have top six potential. Anyways, guys, subscribe, please subscribe, hit the subscribe button, help me get to 100 subscribers, you'd be doing me a huge favor. Ring that bell for my upcoming videos, and feel free to leave a comment on what you thought of this video and who you think should be re-signed. I hope you enjoy your day. This is Scotty2Hockey, aka the Average Hockey Fan, over and out. Go Habs, go baby, we'll get them next year. Woo!